this morning are my guests, Mr. Rajiv Alaru, President of Ekal Houston Chapter, and Nidhi Gupta, Youth Leader. Today, we are going to learn about the work Ekal Foundation does in improving and empowering people living in rural India. So, good morning. How are y'all doing?
Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning. How are you?
Hi. I love her aura.
Yes.
You know, Nidhi's like full of positivity and happiness. She's like this ray of sunshine. How are you, Rajiv?
I'm doing good. She provides the same sunshine for the entire Ekal. So
Yes.
it's great to have be here, talking to your listeners, helping
Yes.
them learn about Ekal and all the impact we bring to the rural and tribal India.
Yes, we are excited to learn a lot about, because I know y'all do a lot of work, making a difference, and that is so important, especially in villages in India. That is so needed, education and empowering the women. So I'm really excited about this talk with you both. So let's begin with the inception of Ekal Foundation.
Yeah, so this journey started about 4 decades ago by one of the visionary founders by the name Shyamji Gupta. He actually started Ekal in Gujarat, in that area, with a group of like-minded, educated group of leaders. And then over the last 4 decades, it grew into a global organization, and the impact today is in 80,000 villages in India.
Wow.
80. So we actually focus on 5 core pillars, as I say. One is education, which is what we'll spend a lot of time. But then we also expanded into digital literacy, health, skill training, and also culture. So in the last decade or so, we shifted from the single teacher schools where it started towards empowerment, economic empowerment, not just education, but make them sustainable to a point where they don't need us anymore. That is our goal. That's our mission. A great journey. We, in fact, Ekal is also proud to be a recipient of Gandhi Peace Prize, which is, I would say, like a Nobel Prize for
Right.
the philanthropic organizations in India. So this wouldn't be possible without tens of thousands of volunteers, donors, and all that too. So huge thank you and gratitude to all of our donors and volunteers as well.
Wow, it's amazing the work that you're doing, and also thinking about the future, getting, providing that education, but as well at the same time keeping in mind that at the end of the day, just like kids, we provide education, we provide a home, but at the end of the day, they have to be self-sufficient, they have to be independent, and that is what you all are doing. So
that is what excites me the most. Not just telling them how to learn and whatnot, but providing them the opportunities. And one of the goals we have in the coming years is to have a goal of 12,000 villages across India. So these are selected based on the data we have, economic empowerment status and all that. Make them totally, I would even call it Adarsh villages, like ideal villages is what we call it. And they are going to have all these pillars, as I already mentioned. For example, the women empowerment centers, the digital literacy, the Ekal computer lab on wheels, organic farming, all of that embedded within these villages. So that's our goal. We are making good progress, but we also have a long way to go. And we are sure that we would be there, we would be getting there with all the support that we have from folks like yourself and then all of our volunteers and donors.
Yeah. So let me ask both of you all, what are your roles in the foundation, and how did you all get involved? So let me begin with you, Rajiv.
Yeah, so I started working with Ekal around 2014 timeframe. I actually attended a fundraiser. There are a few things that really stood out for me, and one of the key things for me was the magnitude of impact that a dollar can create. So Ekal tagline is $1 a day keeps illiteracy away by funding a school for a day. So a $365 can fund a single teacher school.
Wow.
So a very scalable, I call it platform in the business world is what we were able to do. And to me, when I walked into that fundraiser, that is an eye-opener, to say the least. And then later on, over many years, I volunteered in the fundraising and so on and so forth. When we moved to Houston, I was talking to Houston leadership. In fact, Ekal USA is founded in Houston. So there's a special place for Houston in the Ekal USA chapter. So as you were talking, I had an opportunity to lead the chapter, and thanks to the leadership who actually wanted to take this to the next level as we were preparing for post-COVID. So long story short, I was able to pull my team together, and then Nidhi is part of my team leading the youth activities. And she has been with Ekal for a long time. She'll cover that in a minute. Mm-hmm. So she's part of my team, and we have the chapter teams. We have 70 chapters. Ekal has 70 chapters all over the country, and Houston is one of the active chapters.
All right. Okay, Nidhi?
I'm Nidhi. I'm a junior at Carnegie Vanguard High School. So I've been involved in Ekal for the past 3 years, and it all started when I learned about what Ekal is, like the cause, how they're trying to bring education to empower like the rural and tribal villages, the children there, so they can get an education. So when I heard about that, I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. I searched it up. I started emailing them, and then I found out that I can host youth workshops. So I hosted Algebra 2, Spanish, Geometry. So these type of subjects all across the US, I taught students, and the fees that they paid was as like a fundraiser. So like I raised around $2,000 around that, and so that really inspired me that yes, I can make an impact. I have a purpose. And so that got me first involved. And then as a youth lead in Houston, I started attracting more students across Houston so they can start getting involved with Ekal. So I created a club recently this year, and the students there have actually started creating youth workshops. One teaches biology, another is teaching history. So as this way, they're getting involved, and at the same time, they're creating more awareness about what Ekal is, how we can expand it, and surprisingly, many people really want to go to India and experience a Vanyatra, which is actually going and staying in the Ekal villages. So that's really created a good community, and that's what made me involved in Ekal, the whole cause.
Right. And so did you go to India?
Yes,
to the villages?
Yes.
So share your experience with us.
So when we went to the village, we were greeted, like when we first went to the village, it's in East India, in Bhubaneswar, Odisha. So there we were greeted with flowers, with music, bells, and we danced. Like you reach the village, they're dressed in their traditional clothing, their saris, their like a bindi, a nose pierced, and we walk all the way through the village, and then they sat us down, and they started teaching us like how they actually experience learning there. And so when we came and sat down, one by one, they would lead the classes in different languages like English, Odia, Hindi. So they have a diversity of culture. But the feeling I got when I visited them was so great. It was unimaginable. Like, I actually wanted to bring them back to America with me when I... Seriously. I know, right? Yeah. It is a Bollywood movie, for real. Like, it's that experience. Yeah, and the girls and boys, you could see when you look at their eyes, just look at their eyes, that passion for learning, their curiosity. Like, you can tell that they value and they're so grateful that Ekal provided this opportunity, this platform for education. They're so grateful, and it's just so livening. I actually wanted to take them, but I can't do that, can I? Yeah.
So did you go with other students, or were you
I went
by
with
yourself?
my family, yes.
You went with your family?
Yeah.
And how did your family, what was their reaction? How did they feel?
They were like, wow, Nidhi, because of you, I actually get to visit this part of India, because we just visit our family, but visiting the villages where everything first came from, sprouted from, that is the real joy we got.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing to see and then speak to all the, I guess, to the children out
Yeah.
there, right?
I'm excited that you're showing. I'm just like, I want to go.
And you probably learned things from them as well. They probably taught you
Yes, yes.
things that you never knew about, right? Like sometimes we think, oh, we are from United States, we know everything. But then when you go to India and you know go to the villages and then they teaching you something, you're so like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I learn much more than what
The cultural values
the
were-
culture
yeah.
itself. Yes, exactly. The culture values. That never, you know, that is very, very precious for all of us. Yeah, that's wonderful. So, Nini, tell me, how do you balance all of this? Because, like, you know, you have studies, of course, and that is important. And then there's so much work involved in the foundation itself. And I'm sure it must be pretty overwhelming sometimes for you. So how do you go about doing all of that?
Well, as a student, I can connect with Ekal because I know the value of education is so important. And since I'm getting educated here in America, I'm so privileged, right? I get all the resources, free education, but students all across rural India, like, they don't get education. They don't have access, no schools, no teachers, no books. They don't have any of that. So when I know that, yes, I can make an impact there, like, yes, I want to totally do it. So I never take Ekal. The thing is, it's all about perspective. I don't take Ekal as a responsibility, as something hindering my studies. Like, along with my studies is something I do, but Ekal is just part of me. Like, it's just something I do alongside. Like, I don't think about it. I get so consumed in it that I don't have to actually take out time for it. It just comes in naturally. You know, for studies, I have to take out time.
That is harder.
Yeah.
But that's wonderful. I mean, you know, it's good to see youths getting involved and the passion that you know it's just flowing out so naturally and so because you're so happy doing what you're doing, and it's good to see that. I mean, our future is in good hands. We don't have to worry at all. So share with us some of the stories.
Success stories,
Yes,
yes. So there's this one girl named Pinky Karmakar. She's from a village in Assam, in India. So there she started off as like a tea laborer, right? In the garden she used to work, and then she became an Ekal graduate. And gradually, like, she's now working with the Indian government. Imagine she transformed from working with in the tea gardens to all the way being in the government, in the Indian government. Wow. It's a big thing. It's incredible. So, but she also in 2012 got part of she got to hold the torch in the Olympic gold thing, like, for India. So that's amazing. Like, someone starting off in Ekal school gets to do that. That's like, wow, like, whoa.
Yeah, such a proud moment.
Yeah, so she also went back and she helps their village. So she started working with the United Nations Children's Fund to go and uplift her village by implementing a sports program to help with the children there.
Wow, that's so great. And you know, like, we always talk about empowering women, and it's so good to see at youth at such a young age you are doing that. You're empowering other young girls out there. So what are your thoughts on that, on women empowerment?
I think women, like, what do I think about women in general?
Empowering women, yeah.
My message, or?
Yeah, anything, what your thoughts are.
I think that we all women, from history, like, we women weren't given the rights we were, but now we women we're given awareness. We are sisters of America. We're given all this knowledge about how we have rights to get education. That's our basic foundation to success. We need that to have financially successful, to get an income, everything. We need this. So it's really important that we women get aware about our rights and fight for education and be part of this Ekal movement, therefore.
And how is Ekal doing that in empowering women?
So I'll give you another story. So, like, this summer when I went to India, right? So we visited this girl. Her name was Priyanka, right? And she she was like in a tailoring center. Like there's something called the GRC center in India. GRC is like where they give skills training, resources to like the teachers there, like to teach the teachers, right?
Okay.
And so she went there too, like as a student. And she realized, like, she started learning tailoring. So there's like tailoring centers for women there. So she learned how to tailor, with a sewing machine, and she brought it. Like she learned, so she can make a salwar kameez. That's like a Indian traditional gown, right?
Right.
And since she could do that, she basically depletes the dependency the villagers have on going all the way to the market or to the town to get these clothes. So first of all, they get it at a cheaper cost. Second of all, they don't have to go all the way there to the market to buy clothes. The women in the village make the clothes and they get an income, which makes them financially independent, strong women, right?
Right.
And so this whole process, and they get to bring 2-3 sewing machines, the women who learn at the GRC. Then they teach other women around them how to use these, and they make multiple things for men, women. This is like a source of income. So that's really powerful to me.
Yeah.
So let me add a few things there. So the GRC stands for Gramotan Resource Center.
Okay.
As the name indicates, it actually provides the necessary resources for a cluster of villages. A cluster can be up to 60 villages. So think of this as a hub and spoke model where you have a group of 60 villages being served by the GRC, which is Gramotan Resource Center. One part of Gramotan Resource Center is women empowerment, which can essentially mean 30 different sewing machines where there is a batch of female students and some male as well, but mostly female. They will be getting a 6 to 8 week training program, a structured training program, and then the graduates of the program will take a sewing machine with them.
Oh wow.
Yep. So that is when they go back, they're actually setting up their own, call it small business.
Yes.
They have the tools.
To
right?
everything.
Wow.
You
That's
have the
incredible.
skill, you get the machine, you take it back, and then there are hundreds, if not thousands, of stories all over India.
That's awesome.
And most of these happen to be female students. Another thing, with the single teacher schools, it's a 30 student school. So again, $1 can fund up to 30 students in each school. About 15 plus students are females. Girls.
Wow.
50% or even more are girl students. And these villages, if you actually end up going to them, they are all over India, even to the point of war-torn regions in Punjab, for example, or economically backward regions, such as Jharkhand, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra. I mean, every state has these. I don't want to necessarily call some states better than others, especially because there is this divide, right? The rural and urban divide that has become even more prevalent and prominent these days.
Yes.
And if we don't go after these weak links, it's not a true Bharat that we are actually bringing, right? That is what Ekal is after. So go after the weak link, empower them, empower the woman as well with it, so that you are truly bringing the entire country as a whole.
Yeah. So let me ask you, like the volunteers, when they are there, they're doing the work, how challenging it is for them to say convince, because it's still a patriarchal family, right? So how challenging it is to convince the husband or the father to kind of let the women, work or study. Is it as challenging as, we've heard so many stories that they just want the women to be at home, take care of the kids. The young girls, they want to teach them the house chores, and that's about it. So how challenging, what are the challenges that you all have to face, the volunteers have to face?
When they hear that Ekal has been doing this in 80,000 or close to 100,000, it gives them a feeling that, okay, it's time to change. Okay,
Yes.
time to change.
Yeah.
And you heard stories about Pinky Karmakar and many females and women, they obviously get the door open. The door is open for conversation. And later on, we have a teacher in the village. So here is a teacher who grew with you and became this spearhead, or the leader, spearheading the movement. It also helps, right? So it's not just about providing the content, but it is that connection.
It's like a chain reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then all of these things do help. The history helps, the success helps. So we, as a result of that, I don't think we are having that much resistance. And also it's right there in the village. You don't have to go anywhere. And then some of these villages, we also do e-siksha, which is essentially a digital education which is on the tablets. So what do? We actually roll out the content through those devices. So this world class, or obviously even the content is driven by IITs, the Harvards of the world. So this world class education is coming to you, to your village, and that also helps.
Correct.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful to hear such great work of, Ekal doing and being involved and thinking about that. So many times, and mainly it's the women who are forgotten many, many times. So sharing these stories motivates and uplifts many of us in so many ways. I mean, for us over here, like even with me listening and seeing your passion, I'm just like, wow, because I'm sure you must be sharing all these stories with so many young, youths out there, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to imagine how you begin a conversation. All right, so let's go on a short break, and when we return, we will continue our conversation with Rajiv and Nidhi from Ekal Foundation. This is Chai Time on 99.5 FM. Welcome back to Chai Time on 99.5 FM. I'm in conversation with Rajiv and Nidhi from Ekal Foundation. It's been such a uplifting conversation, I would say. And just, listening to Nidhi, her passion and sharing such success stories with us about what the foundation does, the impact it has on so many lives. So Nidhi, I'd like you to share another story with us.
So there's a girl named Sarmishra, and she started she used to just do run cattle in her farm, right? But then in a ranch, right? And so she started when she got in contact with Ekal, Ekal started telling her about ways to farm better, right? And so she learned what vermicomposting is. So more organic ways to implement in farming, because not just men, but also women are learning farming, and so she started learning that. So that really uplifted her, her whole life, her whole income source too. Yeah, that's one.
So just to add to that organic farming thing, when we go educate the farmers, they are telling us that as a result of them using organic farming, their costs are getting reduced. So more money in their pockets as a result. And then two, you're also helping the environment.
Yes.
Right? So, and then on the top of all this, you don't have to go anywhere else. The knowledge is coming to you. And then, so organic farming is a huge thing for all of the Ekal villages, and obviously women are also involved equally. And it is really helping a lot of villagers. In fact, our villagers grow turmeric, it's international standard. We are working to get this USDA organic or some sort of certifications to roll it to international markets in the future. So we have a lot of villagers who are capitalizing on this global organic demand, as I call it, and definitely working towards that.
Yeah, and the demand is huge over here. Everyone's into organic, into living healthier lifestyles. So, that is just growing as well. So it's a win-win for everyone in that sense. Yeah, that's wonderful. So Rajiv, we do know that technology plays a vital role. I mean, we are all always on our devices. We have our phones, our tablets, and everything. So how is Ekal using technology in the current and future operations?
Great question. I see Ekal as a big scalable foundation, as I mentioned, because we are in that many villages, 80,000 again. So technology is very much needed for us, even critical, I would say. So one of the first things that I want to hit on for all the donors, whoever comes in with whether it be a single teacher school or a special project like a Gramathon Resource Center, everybody gets a portal. So you get a donor ID, you get a login, and you can go and see where your school is, how many girl students, how many boy students, where exactly is it. Also, if you want to go visit the school, you can also do that as well.
Oh, wow.
So that's number one, full transparency in terms of, where your dollar is going. Sometimes we even take your preference on where you want to fund your school, if you have that. That's also a possibility. And then that's the current state. We are doing that today. Now, as we are going towards this digitalization, we are using the donor portal to roll out more content. For example, what is the current attendance in your school? Down to yesterday, if we may.
Wow.
Yeah. So out of the 30 students, how many students showed up? And then there are two things here. One is to see the health in terms of attendance. But when you aggregate it, we also want to use that data to understand what is making these students, call it dropouts, or what is causing the low attendance, what areas need further attention, what are the elements that are causing the successful schools the way they are. So that is the way how we are going to use, not only for tactical but also for strategic things. In addition to that, same thing for organic farming. Since we have technology, we are going to roll that out to digital, the Ekal Lab on Wheels. Ekal Lab on Wheels, for your listeners, it's simply a mobile van that's powered by the internet, and you have a computer center. So it goes from village to the village to village, and it takes 2-week to 3-week certified training courses, and then we have these certified graduates or students go take opportunities in the neighboring towns and villages and whatnot, or go on the internet and learn some more. So you are working somewhere in a government your office or whatnot, they'll go through this Ekal Lab on Wheels, and then they get to learn different things. They might even find a new career after all.
Yeah.
So there are all kinds of examples like that as well. So even there, similar thing. Where is the Ekal Lab today?
Yeah.
Where was it yesterday? What was the specific training that the folks were involved in? Down to where are they right now? If you have a graduate, so connect all the way, right? Full traceability down to how do we make it better? So those are some of the examples. I can go on and on and on, but we are using technology to the maximum to help us do even more.
Wow. So you're even working towards the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, because many times, I'm from India. I'm from Bombay, and I always we had a shoe shop. And we had these, they call them mysteries. So they used to make the shoes from scratch, the leather and everything. But their families all lived in villages, right? So we used to hear stories how their family struggles and things like that, and how they have to leave their village and come to the city to earn a living. But now you'll have made that difference. You don't have to leave your home. You're still with your family, and you're still building a bright future. You're bringing everything to the village.
Trying to develop the village more itself instead of going out and living somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's incredible work. That is we've had so many organizations come on Chai Time for the past 5 years, and this work that y'all are doing is hats off to y'all. We are I don't know. I myself am feeling so proud. I don't know why,
That's good.
but I guess it's so good to see people like you all being involved and not forgetting, yeah, and countries like, I mean, like India, like so much work is needed, so much, we have advanced so much in India too, in so many ways, but then, places, the rural India itself has kind of been forgotten, and that is what y'all are doing.
Yeah, and also on Ekal and videos, you know how your day-to-day life, you just use Word, Excel, all these basic PowerPoint, all this stuff that make our life like so easy, organizing, attaining like our financial things, how to organize everything. So all this stuff is taught on the Ekal on Wheels when they go on the buses from village to village to teach them with the computer training labs, right? All these students are like, they learn how to use these different technologies which we already know how to use, and right, it makes our life easy, but they also learn that, so that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Another success story on the same lines. One thing that villagers realize is the power of internet. So there was a village where they were using the Right to Information Act, RTI, where just for the listeners who are not familiar with it, you can actually pose a question to the government and to provide them visibility on a specific initiative, program, your local road, your local school, anything. You can ask any question. So the villagers learned about it, the RTI, through Ekal schools, and they actually took that question to know how the funds are being used on their local road, the local school. The politicians were held accountable as a result of that. So again, we are very proud. We are very proud by making those villagers taking ownership.
Yes.
Of every dollar or rupee in this case to be allocated to them. So transparency, accountability, all of that are also something that Ekal is trying to change.
Right. So what are some of the challenges and how are you planning to overcome them?
So when we go to this, for example, we talk about long-term manageability. Say, for example, we are actually building a Gramotan Resource Center, which is a huge facility in the middle of this village or the set of villages, right? In that case, we need a vendor, let's call it a partner, who can build this, manage it, maintain as needed. Sometimes the villagers take care of these things on their own, sometimes they don't. So we need to think about not just today, but putting this ecosystem in place where these hundreds, in fact thousands of villages and these centers need to go on, and finding those partners is not easy. It's not easy. Especially because you have to develop a different sense of accountability to these vendors, and whoever works with Ekal, they know what they are here for. And then we also need to educate the villagers themselves. Hey, take ownership as much as you need to, so that your goal is to have it by yourself, right? You don't need us anymore. So which means you need to take these things, and then we have a very high return in the sense 1 in 2 schools almost are self-sustainable.
Wow.
But it's not easy. We have to educate them in the sense of, this is here to stay, this is your, call it empire, quote unquote, that we are building for you, go take care of it. Or we are building a car for you, go drive the car. Yeah, maintain the car and then drive this car so that it is here for you to stay for 20 to 30 years. So managing the vendors' expectations, when things need to be fixed, getting that fixed. It's like you have let's say you have a palace or a mansion or a very fully functional home.
Yeah.
We need to do that, right? For this to support the generations to come. So that's a mindset shift, education that we have to do, and doing that on scale is a challenge. We are doing that, but it's not. And then some of these areas are very inaccessible, I call it. There are no roads, there is no government, and for example, if you ask for one yatra to a school in rural India, let's say in Kashmir, it might be hard. I mean, I know people want to go and visit, but just to go there, it might take 8 to 10 hours.
Wow.
So there are challenges in accessibility. Now, how do we make a vendor accountable when there are no roads? So we need to work with whoever we have in that case, get possibly a road, get this basic infrastructure up, so on and so forth. So that is also another infrastructure challenge, which we are definitely working on overcoming as much as we can.
Yeah, it's like going back to the drawing board over and over again. Yeah, because constantly, and you're like improving lives, all the time. So, and there will always be changes, but it's great that you're moving forward. It's always that there's an improvement, but then more can be done to make that improvement even better. Yeah, that's wonderful. So, Rajiv, tell us, how are donors informed and updated about the impact?
So, as I said, one way is the portal. The portal
Yes.
is our single channel. The second way is the local leaders, the chapter or volunteers can also reach out. So we periodically go talk to the donors,
Okay.
specifically the special projects one, because these are multi-year projects. So we need to inform them, educate them about the progress, where are they today, and then all the way to the implementation or execution. Say, for example, you have Ekal on Wheels, which is on the ground educating the students. We go back and also communicate about the updates, the status, where things are. And then if they have any more questions, you have a point of contact, a single point of contact that they can do. And then sometimes a quarterly report is there for sure. So we actually make sure that the reporting is done with the human touch. So although we use technology, we actually do have people that actually put all the information together and then communicate to the donors. So they are at the end of the day very happy about where their dollars are being spent, and we hear that time to time that our donors are very, very happy, and most of them are coming back again to do more and more.
Yeah, and so have people gone to gone to the villages and checked out as well themselves?
Yeah, exactly. Like what Nidhi was mentioning earlier, most of our donors will go and see where the impact is being made.
And in fact, actually, if you sponsor a school, right, when we went to the school, there's like a big poster which says that you hold the school, like you sponsored the whole school, so your name is like certified, so it's like you're well known, like you feel that pride that yes, I helped these 30 students, so it's like certified for every village, yeah.
And then also we have amongst our youth volunteers, we have middle schoolers, high schoolers. So Ekal did a fundraiser event about 2 weeks ago, focusing on Dakshin Bharat. So we are actually all over India, but we are also focusing on Dakshin Bharat and the needs there. So one of the youth volunteers, essentially after the event, he came back with a $365 cash that he saved in his with his summer jobs, with his grandparents' gifts, all the sacrifices I would say that they had to make, and then said, Rajivji, I need you to consider this for a school. A lot of stories like that. Yeah. So because of the impact, we also have middle schoolers, high schoolers helping in whatever way they could. I mean, you heard Nidhi talk about the $2,000 that she raised with the skills she already knows. Biology, mathematics, data science. We even have some of the youth volunteers give data science, very advanced concepts.
Yeah.
And then they raise money and then they give it back to Ekal.
Wow. So, for our listeners, if anyone wants to get involved in the foundation, how do they go about doing that?
You can contact the ekalusa.org, email them about your interest in this workshop. You can directly contact me too. I'll be ready to give information about how to get involved. There's a whole format. I can email it to you. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. And they can visit the website as well.
Ekal.org. Yes.
Okay, cool. And so Nidhi, what is your message to the women listening today, and how can we all inspire and empower others?
Well, first, we all our sisters, all the girls, listen up. We need to hold hands together and let's partake in this Ekal movement. There's many ways all of us can help. We don't have to be a CEO or a celebrity to be helping in this movement, right? We can use our talents to fundraise. It can be in the form of teaching a skill. It can be doing a performance, spreading the message, doing a fundraiser like a lemonade stand, anything. These funds can all be raised by giving your service, where you have talent. We can join hands. One way is by hosting youth workshops, wide range, SAT prep, anything. And this is also making us more responsible, confident women. We can empower ourselves and impact the lives of girls in India too. So, guided by a passion for change, our family of volunteers, we, with rural communities, we envision in India where women can thrive financially, socially, economically. Join me in empowering the Ekal movement. And
I'm already inspired. I'm going to go out of the studio, I don't know, feeling I want to do something. The energy that you've brought into the studio this morning has just been like, it's been great. It's really been awesome. Like, you know, we always say, oh, we want to volunteer, we want to do things, we want to make a difference, but we don't realize how much a difference it makes in our lives itself, what impact it does for us. And for you to give that message to so many young girls out there who, you know, sometimes is focused only on their education, on their studies, on their career paths. And you saying that, like, make that difference. And if you have it in you, you know, spread it out, spread that joy, spread that knowledge and everything. Yeah, thank you. Jeez, I should have you here every Monday morning.
Energy boost.
All that positive vibes, the good vibes, we need that here in the studio, especially on Mondays. Rajiv, any message to our listeners as well?
So I would like to say we do have the proven platform or an approach, I would say. We have been doing it for, again, 4 decades. We have done it on 80 to 100,000 villages. Tens of millions of individuals, families got benefit as a result of that. So think about that. And we also understand how hard you all have, how much of hard work goes into earning these dollars. So I also want to point out that about 92 to 93 cents on a dollar goes to the cause. So when you donate $1, there is a very high amount. And this is actually not that simple. This is only possible because of all the volunteers here as well as in India that are making this happen. But again, I want to reiterate that the hard work and the hard-earned dollars are definitely put to the right use. As a result of that, we also are highly rated by organizations such as Charity Navigator, who actually rates us very high on a scale when you compare it to other organizations. So we would love to talk to you even further if you have any questions. And a lot of people ask me, where can I do? And I'm like, okay, give your preference. Give where you want to donate. That might be where your grandparents were. That might be where you attended or you visited, and then you felt like, you know what, I need to give it back. Sure. Again, contact Ekal. Let us know how you can help some of these needy villages, and then make, again, the whole India shine.
Yeah.
That would be my message.
Thank you. It's such a perfect way to end.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. Thank you, Nidhi.
Thank you so much,
It was
Jasmine.
such a pleasure to have you both here on Chai Time. We learned so much about the foundation. It's so needed sometimes, you know. So many organizations does such good work, each one of them, and each one of y'all too. Always making that difference, thinking about the future, moving forward. And we appreciate you because, you know, time is of the essence, and that is what y'all are giving, your time, and giving it wholeheartedly. And at such a young age, I mean, your parents must be so proud of you. I'm sure the whole foundation is proud of you, and now Chai Time is proud of you. I know. No, but I hope like the girls and the young youths who are listening, who are tuned in, or even the parents get inspired by this, by your work and the difference that you are making in so many people's lives. So thank you, Raji, for taking the time, and I'm so glad we got to meet and we got to connect, and really appreciate all the work that Ekal does. Thank you.
Thank you to all you listeners.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, listeners, for joining in to Chai Time this morning. We shall see you next week. Same time, same place. Signing off, Chai Time on 99.5 FM.